All right, hey everybody, thanks for joining me this evening. Bear with me for just a second here while I get my ducks in a row, sharing this where it needs to go. Let's do that, and just want to share this on YouTube as well. If you're not subscribing to me on YouTube, a good idea to catch me there as well. If you're not a subscriber on YouTube, you can catch all my videos and live broadcasts there, as in addition to Facebook, of course. So let's share that on YouTube and Twitter. All right, let's do it. All right, it's Sunday evening. I'm in for Ramel this evening, who is taking some time away for visiting his family here around the holidays. And we've got plenty to talk about weather-wise this evening. We've got 2 rounds of snow heading our way in the short term, and then we'll talk a little bit about the prospects for snow, or lack thereof, as we head towards the Christmas holiday. All right, here's what the radar looks like at 9:08 this evening. It's been snowing at a pretty good clip down towards Columbus and Wilmington, Xenia, Dayton, down to Cincinnati as well. The leading edge, a lot of this is not quite reaching the ground up here. Let me actually change the color of my marker there. Let's make that yellow. Yeah, a little easier to see. A lot of this on the northern fringes is not quite reaching the ground, but the snow continues to advance to the north and east. I've been talking all day about how this is not going to be all the snow in the world, but it is going to be potentially impactful for later on tonight and heading into tomorrow morning. As this continues rolling north, here's a look at our local road temperatures. We're right around freezing, or even a little bit below freezing on some of these road sensors throughout northeast Ohio, western PA, and up towards the Cleveland area as well. That's the road temperatures. When we look at the air temperatures, we're a little below freezing pretty much across the board. Now this will be about as cold as it gets tonight. Temperatures should not fall much from here, maybe another degree, but what you see is what you get as far as temperatures, I think, for most of the night. Will be for most of the night tonight. So let's time out the arrival of our snow. Again, I think the leading edge of this will not be quite reaching the ground at 11, but as we head past midnight tonight and the air column starts to saturate from the top down, we'll start to see some snowflakes finally reaching the ground, and it's going to snow later on tonight, but it's only going to last a handful of hours. You'll notice by daybreak tomorrow morning, it's gone. Maybe there's a flurry around at daybreak, but for the most part, this is a 3 or 4 hour kind of a quick hitter. Thankfully, it's not going to be around. It's not going to be around much longer than that. So while this will come and go and kind of do its dirty work, this is not going to be a long-lived event. Now, impacts. Even though accumulations tonight should be under an inch, I'd be surprised if many places get more than an inch. Should be under an inch. Because of the timing and because of the temperatures, we are going to allow for some moderate impacts for early risers. Now, if your commute doesn't really begin until 8:30 in the morning, you'll be just fine in the morning. But if you're heading out the door at 6 o'clock in the morning, or even earlier, you're going to have to watch for some isolated slick spots on any untreated surfaces. The highest chance of surfaces being untreated, of course, would be on the secondary roads, on sidewalks, in parking lots, and that sort of thing. Hopefully, some of the major roads are treated first thing in the morning, because when it's 28, 29 degrees at 4 in the morning and you get a little half inch of snow, that can lead to a lot of slick spots. We don't need 6 inches of snow to have a lot of impacts from a storm, especially, this may be one of those situations. Now, thankfully, you're watching this video, but some people may not be aware that the snow is coming. When we have a big snowstorm coming, everyone knows it, everyone prepares, everyone changes their plans. For a half an inch of snow, most people don't change their plans, and so expecting normal amounts of traffic first thing tomorrow morning, a little bit of snow, some slick spots, and you may have to, allow for a little extra travel time. All right, the rest of Monday will be just fine. I think it's just going to be a cloudy to at times partly sunny midday and afternoon tomorrow. The bigger deal, I think, is tomorrow night. Now, this still is not going to be a big storm tomorrow night, but I think the chance of accumulating snow, impactful accumulating snow, will be a little bit higher tomorrow night. Now, this will not be an evening thing. This will be after midnight, similar timing to tonight, actually. So we're talking tomorrow night, early Tuesday morning. Here's our high-res model at about 2 o'clock in the morning, Tuesday morning. This is going to be one of those situations where we might have some mixed precipitation here and there. We're going to be close, I think, to seeing some sleet down towards East Liverpool, up to Elwood City, maybe Newcastle. I think once you're up to Youngstown and into Mercer and Trumbull counties, I can't rule out sleet, but I think the chances are going to be higher off to our south. The farther south in Columbiana County you are, the higher risk you have of hearing the pinging of sleet pellets late tomorrow night and heading into Tuesday morning. And the farther south you go from there, down towards, say, Toronto and Wheeling, Steubenville, this may be a zone where there's some freezing rain for a time. I'm not real concerned about freezing rain in most of our TV viewing area, but between, say, East Liverpool and Pittsburgh, kind of in this zone through here, there may be some freezing rain concerns for a little while late tomorrow night, very, very early on Tuesday. Now, the snow will then taper off as we get into the daylight hours. Now, unlike our snow tonight, which will be gone by the time the sun comes up tomorrow morning, by daybreak on Tuesday, it'll probably still be snowing a little bit. Now, it's going to taper off, but it may take until mid-morning. It may take until 9 or 10 o'clock. But from west to east, it will taper off. And I think actually we'll probably see some sunny breaks before Tuesday is through. And then just a couple cold days with some flurries and snow showers around coming our way on Wednesday. Now, how much snow are we talking about with this tomorrow night, very early Tuesday morning deal? Here's a look at the computer model spread for kind of the heart of our viewing area. It says Youngstown at the top of the graphic here, but you could include in this Boardman and Poland and Canfield and Lisbon, well, maybe up to Salem and Columbiana, maybe as far south as Lisbon, and as far north as Warren to Sharon to Mercer, kind of the middle of our TV viewing area. So each individual colored line is a model, and here's the legend over here on the left. And as you can see, we've got a decent model agreement here of an average of 1 inch or 2 worth of snow tomorrow night, early Tuesday morning, in the heart of our viewing area. Now you shift down to East Liverpool and notice the lines are lower here. There's still decent agreement. There's a couple of stragglers way down here near 0, but there's decent agreement around 1 inch down towards East Liverpool. And the reason you're seeing this model difference is because of that chance of mixed precipitation being higher down towards Calcutta and Wellsville and East Liverpool and over towards East Palestine probably, and then again over towards Elwood City and the Newcastle area and into Beaver County, PA. There's probably going to be more mixed precipitation, lowering those snow totals. Your chances of seeing 1.5 inches, 2 inches or so will definitely be higher up into Mahoning County, maybe northern parts of Lawrence County, southern Trumbull, southern Mercer. Now, northern Trumbull, northern Mercer, you may be so far to the north, you may be too far north. There's going to be no mixed precipitation up there, but the best bands of snow may be setting up to your south. So Mesopotamia to Kinsman, over towards Greenville, the northern tier of Mercer County. You might be hard-pressed to see more than 1 inch up there because you're so far to the north. This is not a lake effect deal, so amounts may be actually lowest up in that neck of the woods. Just a reminder, as we get into the winter season, sometimes we're going to be talking about these different types of precipitation. What's the deal with these? And, well, when the air column from the ground all the way up to the cloud level is colder than 32, most of the time you're going to get snow out of that. Now, when we have a little nose of warm air, and what we mean by warm air is above 32-degree air, not warm like 80-degree air, but air that's above 32. When you get a little layer like that, the snowflakes hit that, they partially or even completely melt, and then they encounter air that's colder than 32 again on the way down. Now, a partially melted snowflake or a completely melted snowflake does not turn into a snowflake again. It refreezes as a little ice pellet, and that's sleet. And you can hear sleet. When sleet is pinging on your windshield or your windows, you can hear it. That's what sleet is. When we get freezing rain, that's when the precipitation is all liquid, all the way to the ground, and then it freezes on contact. So you have a deeper layer of warmer than 32-degree air, so it doesn't refreeze, it stays liquid, but then right at the ground, it's cold enough to freeze. This is our worst type of wintry precipitation for, lots and lots of accidents. And so thankfully, in our viewing area, we're not expecting a big freezing rain event here. A little more concerned about it down south of East Liverpool, into the panhandle of West Virginia, into the Steubenville area, and maybe over towards the northern suburbs of Pittsburgh. And then, of course, when all of the air column above our heads is above 32, you just get plain old rain and no freezing on contact. All right, so that's the deal for the next couple of rounds of wintry weather. Neither one is a big storm, but can be impactful. I think that, we have a better chance of seeing more than 1 inch worth of snow in most of our area with tomorrow night's system. I wouldn't be shocked if some places got 2 inches with that. Longer range. Now, good news and bad news here. Good news for the millions of people who will be traveling for the holiday, for the weekend before the holiday. So next weekend, the last weekend before Christmas. Good news for people who are doing some shopping, some last-minute shopping. If you're a procrastinator, like I tend to be, if you're heading out to the malls on Saturday and Sunday next weekend, the weather looks good. doesn't look that cold either. We're talking upper 30s, lower 40s. And for those last-minute travelers right before Christmas with this kind of a pattern, warmer than average across a lot of the Midwest, the middle of the country, it looks like not only a mild pattern, a pretty quiet and precipitation-free pattern as well. And so what I've done with our odds of a white Christmas, I have lowered them again. Our historical odds of seeing a white Christmas in our area, it's almost 50-50. It's about 46%. And what we mean by a white Christmas is an inch of snow on the ground. It doesn't have to snow on Christmas for us to call it a white Christmas. We're using a definition that is an inch of snow or more on the ground. This year I've only got 10% odds, and I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up lowering this to 0 at some point. I'm not going to lower them to 0 just yet. We've still got a week and a half to go. But the pattern does not look promising for a white Christmas this year. Historically speaking, when we break it down by decades, since the 2000s began, it's kind of a 50-50 proposition. We had 4 white Christmases in the 90s and 80s, and actually the 1970s on this list. The least, or the fewest, I should say, amount of white Christmases, only 3 white Christmases in the 1970s. The big winner for white Christmases in recent decades was the 1960s. In Youngstown at the airport, we had 8 such instances of an inch or more of snow on the ground back in the 1960s. So again, things are not looking good as we wrap up this current decade. Don't want to get into too many arguments about when a decade begins and ends. I'm of the opinion that this decade is 2010 to 2019. So the final Christmas of this decade, not looking good for a white Christmas. All right, I'll have a full update for those who are staying up late tonight. If you're watching the Steelers game tonight, we'll be on right after the Bills-Steelers game. 21 News, probably, if the game does not go to overtime, 11:45 or so. And so I'll have an update with the latest model information on our snow chances for the next couple of days. Thanks for joining me, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitter or on Facebook. Don't forget, I'm on all the social media outlets, Instagram and Twitter. I'm Eric WFMJ. Look me up on YouTube. And of course, if you're watching this on one of those other outlets and you're not following me on Facebook for some reason, you can search for Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm and find me on Facebook. Thanks again for watching. Have a great Sunday night, everyone, and you'll have me all week long on 21 News at 6 and 11. Hope to see you then.